Hey, Mother Chuckers. Jamie from Chuckerfly. Gonna tie up Golden Stone fly pattern for you. Use it on one of our local rivers. They've got a great Golden Stone fly hatch. I'm copying sort of a few different patterns, putting them together, and making my own. Inspiration comes down. Matt Matt King from Robert Robinson's Fly Shop down in Victoria. Um, he sort of had a cool pattern last year. I copied it, caught a few browns for us on our local river, and I'm just sort of taking it and evolving it a bit. So basically, I'm tying it on what I have, Mustang streamer hook, size 8. I'm really liking the Arex Predator series. They've got a hook too. It sort of gives you the upturn, makes it more of a nymph. I just don't have any of them at the moment, so this is what I'm tying it on. I'm going to grab a big, huge tungsten. The idea is we're nymphing it. We're trying to get it down down deep quickly. I'm horrible with my big sausage fingers trying to get these on. I've already pinched the barb on this hook. Going to wrap on in front of the bead here. I'm going to put some antennas on. Using nano silk. I tie most of my flies with nano silk. Stuff's hard to cut though. Slippery stuff, so I don't have a good grip on it. Get new scissors for Christmas too, so that'll be nice. Using these rubber legs, I got some tinsel mixed in with them here. These guys here. So I'm just going to take one out. I'm going to use the one for the whole fly. So what I do is I take it, put it down on my bench here, cut it into about thirds, I figure. There you go. So cut them down to that length there. So I'm going to work in the antennas first. Tie them in loosely. Get them up to the position I want. I'm going to come around with this one. And they're just sort of sticking out like that. They don't... Just going to try and get a better wrap on this one, hold it in where I want it. Might just come around up here as well a bit. Got to be really careful with this nano silk, is if I wrap it too tight, I'll end up cutting it. Whatever. Happy with that for now. Grab my whip finisher. I'm just going to tie this off. Cut off here. Take my bead. Put it up there. And my thread back going on again. This nano silk is super slippery stuff. Sometimes a pain in the ass to get it going. but eventually you do. Some thread base down. For the tail, I know I've been using the rubber legs. I'm going to use actually some Goose Bite. And again, it is orange gold. I don't know what color this is, but amber. Get in there. Perfect, I got two. I tie one in at a time. I don't know, guys might be able to do two. I struggle with these things. Try and get them in the right spot. I'm trying to get them pointed out. Them to match up here. You could use rubber legs here, coming out the back. I just really like the way they look. Goose Bites out the back here. And again, if you only got Goose Bite, you don't have rubber legs. Again, you can use them for the antennas as well, and even for the legs. Just trying to position those where I want them. Good, wrap them in tight. Nice, and you can sort of see how they're not like that. All right. Next step is use some wire, some thin wire there. I've always had wire on my patterns because I've usually used pheasant tail. I'm actually going to use chenille. It's almost going to be like same stuff you'd use for Pat's rubber leg. Traditionally, last year when I made this pattern, I used pheasant tail. But finding long enough pheasant tail feathers is a pain in the ass. I have trouble working with it. Got my wire in there. Again, so I'm using this chenille here. I don't have the there it is, variegated medium chenille. It's thin. Don't need a whole lot of it. This amount here will probably make two patterns. I'm just going to tie it at the very end. I'm going to try and keep it as thin as possible. Just get a little bit of a tag tied in here at the end. There, I got it. Doesn't have to be in too much because I'm going to have the wire going over top of it. But again, this stuff holds up pretty well. So, wrap it in. And I'm going to leave it right about there. So I've got a little bit of gap in there behind the bead. That off. Next, going to go with the wire. Oh, I'm going to wrap that in a bit better. Almost lost it. And I'm going to counter wrap the chenille. This step isn't necessary. But I'm doing it anyway. Just helicopter off your your wire. Eventually it'll break here. Christ. There we go. That's off. Okay. So next step. Stuff's called thin skin. And I'm just going to take a little bit. I think I've got some around here, but I don't know where it is on my desk. My desk is a mess. I'm just going to take it, just cut a little bit. It's on like a cardboard backer. So I've got a strip here on the weight back. Just going to cut like a little bit off here. Sort of see how I'm doing that. Just going to make it a little easier to wrap in. So I'm going to take it off the white backer right now. Just peel it off. A little more translucent there. So put it in on top. Just with that V I've made, just allows me to wrap it in a little easier. So it's going to be a little bit of a shell back there. Next step, I'm going to grab the silly legs here, tie them in on each side. Do the other side. Sometimes they don't end up exactly where they want. I just pull them into place where I want them. Again, you don't want to go too tight because you can cut them. That looks good there. Some golden stone dubbing. Good pinch. I like little wax. And I lick my fingers. I just find when I spin it on, you get a better noodle. And then once I get it on, I'm going to put the thin skin over top on front, and then I'm gonna dubbing brush some of it out here. I'm not getting a great noodle here. Part of the problem is these rubber legs are in my way. There we go. Put that on there. Just gonna perfect. Move my thread up ahead of those rubber legs, right to the front there. I'm going to bring that thin skin over top. And cinch it down in. Okay, cut that off there. A few more wraps in there, hold it all together where it is, and we're done. Just use your whip finisher and tie her off. Part of the issue is all these trying to avoid all these silly legs is a pain in the ass sometimes, but I'm going to do one more. Just because I'm not going to use any head cement or any crazy glue. The legs again where I want them. You don't have to do these front antennas if you don't want. Just makes it look a little more realistic. You can sort of see it there. It's pretty good there. Next, I grab my dubbing brush. Just rough it up a bit. There. That's perfect. See underneath it there. And that's it. Golden stone right there. What's nice about it? Super heavy. Drops like a rock. It's that big tungsten bead on the front here. Gonna get you down. Nice effective nymph. Good for steelhead. Good for rainbows and browns. Nice pattern for our local waters. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.